वो दिन कितने प्यारे थे, ये दिन भी कितने प्यारे हैं। तब बाबा साथ हमारे थे, तब बाबा साथ हमारे थे। बाबा अब भी साथ हमारे हैं।
डबल विदेशी भी अच्छे, सेवा की वर्दी में आगे बढ़ रहे। बाप से भी प्यार है तो सेवा से भी प्यार। सेवा अर्थात स्व और सर्व आत्माओं की साथ साथ सेवा। पहले स्व, क्योंकि स्व स्थिति वाले ही अन्य आत्माओं को और स्थितियों से निकाल सकती। सेवा की सफलता ही है स्व और सर्व की बैलेंस की स्थिति। ऐसे कभी भी नहीं करो। इस सेवा में बहुत बिजी थे ना, इसलिए स्व के Om Shanti, Maryada Purshottam, always full. You are Brahma Kumars, but whilst knowing the codes of conduct of the Brahmin clan, become Maryada Purshottam in such a way that each and every thought of yours creates an impact on the atmosphere. Those who are full never fail. The sign of those who are full is that they will never have bad feelings. And secondly, they will never fail. And thirdly, they will not have any flaws. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Welcome to Vikti Parivar. Today's day 3. Maryada Purshottam. Always full. Now we will listen to Mohini Didi.
Om Shanti, everyone. Om Shanti. Yeah, having good experiences with paying attention on Maryadas. We definitely feel some improvement, right? If you are a little bit lazy in the morning, you remember, no, I have to wake up in time. So we wake up in time, we sit with Baba properly. And then Baba is saying that if you want to do whatever you're doing, it should be full service. In that, while serving others, self should be served. And while serving the self, you will be able to serve others. It's very, very important because that is what we call it dharana. If you have only knowledge, but not dharana, so then we give knowledge, right? And that becomes more like information. Right? Knowledge is what you're giving is understanding, wisdom. But then to change it in yoga, so I have to have that also. And then dharana, and then fourth is service. Because I am on journey also, I have to become like Baba, perfect like Baba, claim inheritance. Right? Serving others is elevated actions, but I have to be elevated also, right? So we can look into that and reflect, and I'm sure we are doing it, but paying more attention will help us to be more consistent in our mood, in our nature, in our sharing with others, in doing what we're doing, to be more consistent. And it's so beautiful to know how to remain full by following all the Maryadas. That's something very unique, right? That means sometimes we feel lack of power, any power, whether it's tolerance, whether it is love. So if I am gaining power, where I am losing? Where is the leak? And I know now that because of body consciousness, sometimes we break certain maryadas. Very simple maryadas. I remember that when we start going to Madhuban, especially double foreigners. So many times one brother, one sister will walk around the lake. So Dadi Prakashmani used to say, when people see two together of same age, what will be the first thought? First, oh, they might husband, wife. Then they will say girlfriend, boyfriend. So Baba said their drishti, their drishtis of body consciousness, even if you have purity and say, no, I don't have anything. These are like social code of conduct, maryadas when we are in society. Then how should we interact? So Daddy used to say, take one more sister or one more brother. Why others should have that thought towards me? What is wrong? They say, what is wrong? There's nothing wrong. But that's what could happen. But this is one thing. So one time Shanta Dadi was sitting and one guru came and said, oh, we are souls, right? So I can sit together with you. Shanta Dadi, no, sit in front. He said, but we are souls. Said, but we are in bodies. No? So when we are in body, we are not brothers. We are brothers, sisters. And brothers, sisters in relationship has some maryada. It took him time because he was kind of challenging. Oh, we are pure, we are souls. So what's wrong if I hold your hand? Daddy said, you can't hold my hand. So he was little kind of showing annoyance. But Daddy Devashanta was very disciplined and she said, no. Now this could be a little thing. We are souls, that means what? We are in bodies. And bodies are not Sato Pradhan. Bodies are still impure bodies, right? Even we are following purity, but elements are impure. So that's why today for virus, right? We need to have social distancing for just virus. So same as any vibration, any body consciousness. So try to look at that we follow maryadas fully and accurately. Very simple maryadas about eating, about your dress, which we will take slowly. But these are all maryadas of different kinds. So when you follow maryadas, we remain full. So when we are full, we don't fail. Otherwise, sometimes we don't know how to deal with certain situations. So we fail. But when we are not full, then we are also, it's like emptiness, no? So suddenly in that emptiness, you could feel bad about little things. Sometimes you feel humiliated, sometimes many different kinds of moods. It affects your mind. So why should I lose my stage? Right? Very, very important. Not allow it to fluctuate. Yesterday Baba said, imperish, it should be immovable and stable. There are two things. One is emotionally we get moved. and in that it affects us. And another is external situation, circumstances. One is internal, one is external. But we had to go beyond everything. And third is flaws. Diamond has flaws. So they shine it, try to shine so much that is sparkling, completely sparkling diamond, flawless. So all three are important. So it's important to follow Maryadas. Listening morely with love, attention. Mm. When I think of my father, teacher, Sadhguru speaking to me, my supreme parents, Baba, is speaking to me. And in that, he's expressing his love and he's sustaining the soul. So Father's love and sustenance can only be experienced through Murli. And then whole day also, when you think of what Baba said today, the love emerges. And love is felt and experienced that Baba told me this today. So and so said this, so and so says that. No, we think of that. But now we think what my father said this morning. You will find any student anywhere will talk about this study and teacher so many times a day. Today my said, Father, today my teacher said this, today my teacher did this, right? And we are lucky the same father becomes teacher, supreme, ocean of knowledge. He makes us worthy children. And whole kalpa then, our knowledge and purity continues until the last birth. And then he becomes Sadguru. Not only gives blessings, but you know that all prince, princess, royal family members, they are sent to gurus, right? Because when you directly learn from guru, it's different than learning from anywhere. People learn from scriptures and reading different books, but here Baba, as father, teacher, Sadguru, teaches us. Just imagine. And that's our fortune, right? So when Murli is read, listen Murli, right? Someone said, but I can't absorb, so I have to write. So when you're writing point, by that time, 2-3 points already had been spoken, right? You miss it. Dadi Janki said, she used to make notes and Baba said, no, you look at me and listen. I never wrote points in front. You can't have diary in front of Baba. Because Baba used to look at us and I am looking at Baba and I'm listening to Baba. You remember Baba gives example that if good audience is in front and there is dancing girl, she will dance with enthusiasm. But if everyone looks down while listening morely, even in class, you're not supposed to look down, read morely, or have your phone in phone reading morely. No, that never happened and shouldn't happen. You should look and listen to morely properly and feel it. Father's love, teacher's love, guru's blessing. Listen to morely. Not even your own personal interpretations that you can have churning later. Not those who are reading morely after every two sentences say something. Few people had been calling that how their instrument, every two lines they stop and say something. So their link is not there of what Baba is saying. So I was proposing do it in the beginning or in the end. Have good chit chat in the end. But just read or listen. As Baba is saying, the flow should be there of the Murli. And I think that's something very, very good. And after that, you can definitely make notes because there are a lot of points, right? Proper explanation, how we should explain, how we should explain. And I found sometimes the way Baba says, you explain the same way. Say same things, even in the lecture. I have tried, even in the lectures, I say what Baba said, and it appeals so much. It's got the truth, you know. And it's because of uh, He's helping us, guiding us for our journey. He speaks every day. Otherwise, he should just speak once and say, now you study on your own. He spoke every day until today. From Madhuban, they make sure everyone gets Murli of that day. They could tell us, uh, oh, you have Murli from last time, you just take out. No, they send Murli. In India, they mail Murlis, but here also we get Murlis, right? For every day. Every 2 weeks we get, and then another 2 weeks we get, but it's for every day. So much effort. And Baba really used to like his children reading, studying Murli properly. Because that is becoming your wisdom. Your power to discern is based on the understanding of Murli. Otherwise, you could discern, decide, and say things which are not really based on the truth, based on what Baba calls as Shrimad or directions. So you will be lost, right? If directions are not right, you will be lost. So to understand directions, and then we will help others to decide, to understand the directions for what they have to decide. So it's not long time, whatever time we have now. Part of Sakar Baba is over, part of Avyak Baba is over. And how long this part will continue to. So as much time we have, take full benefit of using the resource or the source to become the embodiment of that knowledge. It's important that we pay full attention while reading, while listening to Baba's elevated versions. Morning, sweet morning. Om Shanti. Hmm. Om Shanti, Thai family. You all are sitting like holy swans. The holy swan on holy throne. Very, very happy to see all of you, and I give special love from Baba to each one of you. Om Shanti.
เขาขอให้เราอันมิวค่ะอมชันติ1 2 3อมชันติ thank you Didi
Om Shanti.
thank you อมชันติ
Maryada Purshottam, always full. You are Brahma Kumar's, but whilst knowing the course of conduct of the Brahmin clan, become Maryada Purshottam in such a way that each and every thought of yours creates an impact on the atmosphere. Those who are full never fail. The sign of those who are full is that they will never have bad feelings, and secondly, they will never fail, and thirdly, they will not have any flaws. A Vyakti Parivar Chit Chat, sweet conversations that overflow with insights and inspirations. So I want to invite our dear brother Eric. Welcome.
Om Shanti, everyone. Hello, Om Shanti, Avyakti Parivar. And our dear Mohini Didi. So nice to be with you again every Saturday. And so happy that you asked to continue on the topic of Murli. And I'm sure many must be feeling the same, that we're increasing our love for Baba's Murli all the time. And there's a point where I think our love for the Murli, or our appreciation for the Murli, really becomes combined with our recognition of Baba, our love for Baba, and our motivation and enthusiasm to become like Baba. So I really feel how the Murli has been, I think the Murli has been redesigning our intellect. The Murli has been making our life beautiful. The Murli has been giving us access to God, to Baba, made us understand who He is. So I think this is we're touching a very, very beautiful topic. I'm not sure we'll be able to cover everything in the next session. You might have Murli part 3, Murli part 4, and see how long. Mohini Didi, I know you've never missed Murli, right? I'm sure in all your life as Baba Chai, you never missed a Murli. So I pulled out my calculator. Do you want to know how many Murlis you must have been reading in your Brahmin life? Do you know how many times you must have read Murli? I'm thinking even one per day, except when Babdada comes, and he comes in the evening. But imagine when we start calculating the number, it will come to minimum 23,000 Murlis.
No, but every day, state of mind, power to absorb. Somewhere receiving and taking is different every day. So I like when we talk about it, then there is really more focus, more attention, and gets better and better, even for my own self. Reading is one thing, revising is one thing, but how much one becomes the embodiment. And as Mama used to say, while listening, become embodiment. Same time, don't say, I will do it later. I will think about, churn it little more. And then Baba doesn't want us, while listening, not to use our mind and intellect. Just listen and absorb and just understand. So when Baba says knowledgeful soul is a sensible soul, so sensible means you made sense from that knowledge. So there are many aspects, but I do feel we need to have attention, including myself.
No, all of us, definitely. And so there are many, many, many points. I don't know how we're going to go through all of them. Before we go really into the Murli, I was wondering, I know you've been touching on that many months ago in different sessions with Srimat, but just to know when we talk about the Maryadas, I was wondering if you can briefly redefine the difference for you between Srimat, principles, and Maryadas. And I know after that there is also maybe the system and bhavana, but if we just go with those three ones, Srimat, principles, Maryadas, how do you define again the difference between the three?
Principles are more for lifestyle. You know, what principles I have for lifestyle, and also it could be, let's say I have principle of honesty, then I will decide based on that principle. So it's lifestyle, but also what I live on, what kind of principles I have. Shrimat is where it's very personal, you know, in the sense of understanding of karmic accounts and interacting with others or dealing with others and taking actions and doing actions. So that's where Shrimat is required. And the Maryadas are kind of a royalty in your behavior, you know, little things. Even we are taking Amrit Vela, Murli, but why we want that also to be good, so that our code of conduct is better. That means when I look at someone, where is my drishti going? I could break Maryada if my drishti is going towards the body of someone. Maryada says that I should only look at the soul. That should be my Maryada. Or Maryadas could be in the words, no? Sometimes we use words which are very Lokik words. Because at least I was very much trained about the words. Because the words, there could be a lot of spiritual love. But if there are words which are ordinary, it shows that intimacy which could be a body consciousness. It's very common these days, we say, oh dear, right? But we don't say in Brahmin life, right? I'm just giving example, because anything which brings in Lokik body conscious attitude in the words also is not considered to be Maryada. Yeah, we kind of make comments on others, right? And that's not Maryada. Our Maryada is to speak about elevated words, speak about specialities, you know. So this is how I see principles, Maryadas, and Shrimat. I mean, they can all be same in the sense of we can say follow principle also is Shrimat. But Shrimat here is more personal direction.
Because we mention, you know, often that before someone goes to Madhuban to meet Baba and listen to the Murli, we ask, do they follow principles? And do we ask really, do they follow principles or do they follow Maryadas?
No, so first we say principles. That means you study, you good company, you follow brahmacharya, you know, you eat pure food. These are like main principles.
It's deep, huh? Every aspect. Srimat, you went through for a whole month. Principles is another one. Maryadas is another one. So Maryadas with the Murli, there are many aspects that are very entertaining, I think. And you mentioned a few in the class in Hindi earlier, and you mentioned a few things yesterday as well. I remember, you know, when Daddy Janki would come to Murli class, she used to make us move, and, you know, this one should go, this one move in the front, you move the chair. She used to rearrange the class for a long time. And then I think either she gave up or she decided to stop a little bit. Now the system have changed a lot. I mean, Murli is in Zoom very often. We have more people online than in a class. Would you like to rearrange the class yourself? So when you read Murli, do you feel like, I don't know, people should open the camera, or maybe there should be also some Maryadas in the Zoom or in the room?
There are two things. What Dadi Janki used to do and like is that we sit in such a way that you could see clearly, right? It's not somebody sitting and you have to do your head like this, then you have to. And Dadi said, no, that shouldn't happen. So she will arrange in such a way. Plus, she also used to feel that it should be so royal. Anyone enters and they see how people are sitting in a proper way, you know. That was one thing. Because, and second is, of course, for Zoom, as I said, Murli has to be heard sitting properly in a proper room with proper dress. And but some people, they are still their night dress and they're walking with a cup of tea and they're listening Murli, so they don't want to turn on. But they will not be considered present in a class, right? If Zoom is a class, you have to sit as a classroom student, not as you are in a household, doing household things. Even maybe, even center, if somebody can do that. Oh, I'm listening Murli, but also drink. Somebody said, oh, I just take a cup of tea and start listening to Murli. She thought it's something very good. She's doing it. But that's not right, no, because you are in classroom. So I think those who are in the Zoom also have to keep this in mind that they are in classroom. They should adopt that discipline just for 45 minutes, 1 hour, they should turn on the camera, and after that, whatever they want to do. Listening Murli in the classroom as a student, that is a Maryada.
So classroom and class Zoom should be the same.
Right.
I should have a class Zoom.
Yeah, otherwise, we won't say you are attending class, you know.
Right. You mentioned also earlier this evening that some, when they, because there's Maryadas listening, Maryadas when studying on our own, and Maryadas when reading the Murli in a class. And you mentioned some teachers also stop every 2 lines. So how many lines should we wait before we can make a comment? When you read the Murli, I think many make a lot of comments and it becomes very, very long. But at the same time, if you read the Murli and half of the class is, I don't know, in the sleep Zoom, in a different kind of, in the sleep room. I remember when we used to listen to you in Peace Village many years ago in a retreat, and the Murli, you would make a little joke every once in a while in the Murli, and it was very entertaining, lively, and nobody was sleeping. And you said, ah, wonderful, no one is sleeping. Maybe we should. So what's the balance between, you know, reading the Murli in a way that people stay awake and going straight to the Murli so we don't make any comment?
No, you know what I find that, you know, link shouldn't be broken in the sense of you start explaining or you start telling. Let's say Baba mentions about a story. There was a time we will say, okay, let me share a story. But now, these days, I always say, okay, in the end, we will share the story. I think a lot of Brahmins have become like they are old Brahmins. And they want to hear Murli, just Murli, right? And I don't think when it comes to sleeping, it depends, you know. I find that, yes, there are some who sleep, but it's people want to absorb Murli. And they request us, you know, many even write to us and say, can we hear Murli from instrument without any interpretations or stories? So I think time has changed. And I would say, you know, I find that I really enjoy. if there is constant flow of the way Baba, as I mentioned that, I don't know how it happening this morning also, I turned on Murli Madhuban. It came first before even anything else. And there was a young teacher reading. She didn't say a word, but Murli was so enjoyable. And because it finishes in time, 35 minutes, everything goes on very well. But if you keep going on and the time is gone, and like especially in Madhuban by 8 o'clock, all departments have to start doing their things, those who have to serve, their Murli will never be complete. So I really feel that time has changed and we all should try this and I mean, read it also in a way that it touches, no? Not just you yourself is kind of sleepy and reading Murli, but if you are full of enthusiasm and read Murli, I think people won't sleep, they will be awake.
What would you say are the Maryadas for the one reading the Murli? And also, who reads the Murli? I know very often some want to read the Murli in a class and say, why am I not reading the Murli and this one is reading the Murli? Are there Maryadas to become Murli reader?
Yeah, definitely. There was a time that like Dadiji must read Murli every morning, right? And then because of her health, then Dadi Janki. So generally they expect that the main instrument should read Murli every morning. But then like here, I always thought that if they don't get to read Murli and suddenly they have to read it, they won't know, they won't be practiced also. So it's a part of their training also. So first, of course, is those who are the Nivasis, they get chance because then, but also we have to have backup to know in the sense of there might be at least. But one thing which I heard in Peaceful Age was saying there are two things. One, they say everyone who doesn't miss Morley should be given the chance. And second, also one who is punctual, wears proper dress, listening properly. So we have to see some of the dharnas also before we say to that soul, because otherwise others, they don't feel being sustained even they listening to Murli. I don't know, it's the vibrations or they immediately say, oh, we don't want this one to read Murli. But for some they request, can this one read it again? So I think it's your inner dharna, it's your regular studies. You have to be example, right? If you are sitting in front and read Murli. So whether we call it maryadas or dharna, I think that's what I hear in general.
When you read the Murli, either with students in front of you and or with some online, is there sometimes something that bothers you a little bit or feel should be improved or changed or that you don't feel is accurate at the moment? Or
No, there was a time I used to be, but not now. Now I am really focused on Murli. And I feel that helps others. Because one time I know in Harmony House, I was reading Morning Murli, and one soul used to come every day. I didn't see her. So one time my thought is going, why she's not there? And in 5 minutes she appeared. So I said I was wasting why my concentration was there? Or if anyone has done anything, any impressions, I don't at this time carry anything before you emphasize that line because that soul is sitting who needs to hear it. And souls come to know, right? They immediately know that, oh, pointing out towards me, now I am being told. And it disturbs them. It doesn't really help them. So, but at this time, no, I read Murli in a very pure consciousness. And I remember that when Dadi Janki came once or twice, right, she asked me something and I said, Dadi, now you are really read Murli with give class in a very pure consciousness. She said, why? I said, because otherwise after Murli, when Dadi is speaking, she gives examples of the people who, whatever reason. And I used to tell her that pure knowledge is pure knowledge. And it helped me also not to keep anyone's, any impression or any habit while reading Murli, because then you are pointing out. You kind of underline that. But for me, myself, I underline. I immediately say internally, I need to do this more. I should pay attention there if a moment is there. But basically, just be with Baba in love for Murli and read Murli. You will see it has big impact on the souls.
Mm. Yesterday, or today, I can't remember, you mentioned also about taking notes. Many are taking notes during Murli, and I know even myself, sometimes I find a point so powerful that I quickly want to take note on the phone. Now we use electronic notes. Did you mention most when Babdada gives the Murli, that's when we should really pay attention and maybe not take notes, but every day during class, what of those who take the essence, question, answer, a few points of dana, is that not advisable?
No, okay, one has to decide for oneself. When I'm writing point, by that time you have already read 2-3 sentences, right? So I miss those. No?
Mm.
So that's what when Dadi Janki used to write, Brahma Baba said no. Like we never, when I'm listening to Murli in front of Sakar Baba, we never look down even for a moment. Was total attention on Baba, Shiv Baba speaking to me. So I was thinking of those days. And it's true because when you are listening Murli, you really want to take quickly, short some point, but then you miss other points, right? So if you don't want to miss every, listen first and immediately after, you can write.
Mm.
And that's what the ideal is, but then these days people have copy of the Murli, hard copy in the hand. They're reading in on the phone and listening. So they're looking at phone instead of looking at instrument.
Mm. I
Like
know sometimes in a class, everyone has their copy and so there's a big difference between what you experienced and what we experienced also when Avyak Babdada was giving the Murli. And what I was listening yesterday, the class in Hindi today, I could feel that you are remembering such an elevated bhavna also that most daddies and you had when Brahma Baba was there, such a high consciousness. And the fact of dressing properly, sitting royally, giving attention to the teacher was almost natural because of the awareness. So do you think some of us lose the awareness somewhere? And that's why the behavior is not there, but so do we need to fix the behavior or the awareness? That's what I'm wondering.
I think, yeah, starting with awareness, then behavior, because yesterday Baba said, when you're listening Murli, always remember God is speaking to me. God is speaking this Murli. Now that is awareness, isn't it? Or when Baba said, listen to Murli, why there is short meditation before Murli? To create soul consciousness. And when you are in soul consciousness, you can absorb Murli. But these days it's like points of Murli, right? These are new points, these are good points. It's not question of only points, right? They are important, but as you said, it's more awareness, experiencing Murli, feeling Murli, and becoming that, all that could be done. Yeah, if we have proper awareness first, and then of course, as I said, sit straight, sit properly in proper environment and proper dress, all that. As much we can do. If people have to go for work is different. At least weekend they can do it, you know.
I would say, yeah, as long as it doesn't, sometimes some are so attached to certain things, also the way to do things the right way, they become a little bit dogmatic instead of godmatic. I think I would prefer that we remain God, connected, not dogmatic. Because sometimes I saw the reality is, it's nice to wear a proper dress, but I know in some cities, if we wear kurta pajama or saris, it doesn't really serve the neighborhood. So sometimes there has to be, and I remember going to Paris many years ago, and I was told, please don't come in white to the center because it's really, we have a problem with the neighborhood and the image. Now it has changed. I think it has become better, but it's difficult sometimes to adjust the highest, behavior in the context of what we live today. People have to go to work sometime early as well.
Yeah, that is okay. Because we also here ask brothers not to wear pajamas because it's like considered night dress. But they wear white. It's okay to wear white. But again, as you're saying, if they have to go to work, then they can come in light clothes. And yeah, it depends, but weekend they can come in whites. And I think that, I feel it's very royal and it's very spiritual, right? And mostly like, oh, sometimes I have to go directly. I mean, I'm in this dress for blood test or something. And then Sister Bhumi, they look at us, oh, from where are you coming? How come you wearing this? We say, oh, we were doing meditation. We just finished. And oh, really? So what's meditation? And conversation begins. So I know people do get curious, but I think we have to see whatever is best. But, like wearing very dark colored clothes, and you can wear colored clothes, but they can be decent and they can be light colors, and you will look royal, and so it depends, how far you want to go. But this is what the example is, this is what the final is, and you try your best where you can do and feel comfortable in your environment too.
Maybe last many questions. I know we are running out of time. Maybe we can talk next week about it. But sometimes I hear, and I went through a phase myself many years ago, when I was reacting a little bit to Sakar Murlis, because as a Westerner, I got, I think, an overdose of Krishna stories and Vishnu stories, and one comes from the navel of the other ones come from his navel, Shankar and Shiva. And I was not like, there was a point where the Sakar Murlis were just not connecting anymore. Just a little few sentences to a teaser for next week chit chat, maybe. How to fall in love with Sakar Murlis when there's a lot of explanation of bhakti for us.
But when you see bhakti as your memorials, it's not someone else, it's you. It's we. We are the ones who are our memorials, no? So within the cycle, within the history, in my own birth, rebirth, those were that's what my realities were. And they are worshipped now. I mean, I can understand that sometimes it could happen, but now I think people relate it no more than at that time, because maybe they start relating to their deity form. And, last year I remember we took every goddess for 9 days, and there were so many who were, even now they are requesting, can we have something more? But we are looking for someone who can create videos. It takes a lot of time. So I think that when you see all that as your own memorials, there will be different feelings. And while listening, you might immediately kind of feel also.
Lovely.
Okay.
I counted how many Murlis we've been reading, but I didn't count how many Tolis we've been eating. So I think I cannot count that, but I'm sure we can add one for tonight again.
No, we mentioned that they are worshipping Ganesh for
Yes.
10 days. Ganesh loves laddu.
Right.
It's always a tray of laddus in front of Ganesh. So today we made laddu bhog yesterday, offered to Baba. And of course, all of you who are Ganesh. So this is truly of laddu. Yeah, okay,
Lovely. We love laddus.
You love?
We
Okay.
do love laddus. Thank you, Mohini Didi. And yes, I will continue our chit chat next week.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. Right.
You still have flowers.
It's blooming for you every week. I go and find one. I talk to my Jasmine and say, Mohini Didi is tonight. Do you have a flower? And there's always a beautiful one.
Very beautiful. Thank you. Very beautiful.
With the fragrance, you can feel the fragrance in Zoom as well.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Om Shanti. So now we will remember Baba and take Drishti. Om Shanti. Thank you, Didi and Eric Bhai. Thank you.
Om Shanti. Good night. So beautiful song. I know very few of you understand Hindi. Okay, good night. Om Shanti.